all parts of nature are interdependent. If you damage one, you damage many others as a consequence. So what I would say to you is, you are a steward of God's creation. Just as Adam and Eve got that stewardship, you have that responsibility now. So be good stewards and hand on to the people who come after you a planet better than the one you found. It would be a tragedy if we were to pass on a polluted planet to grandchildren and great-grandchildren in the years ahead. They wouldn't thank us for it. Well, firstly, it's a time of crisis, a global crisis, as the temperature of the earth rises due to human activity, particularly the use of carbon fuels. That's the first thing. Now, the second thing is that the church has to have, to teach its people, raise their awareness, tell them about this, and see how it fits in with their religion. And it's only in the last 50 years or so that we're becoming more aware that our stewardship has not been good. We would get low marks on the way we have been behaving, particularly in the last, I suppose, since Industrial Revolution, but particularly in the last 50 or 60 years. The temperature of the earth has risen. It's now almost 1 degree more than it should be, and if it goes to 2 degrees at the rate we're going, then an awful lot of people are going to feel the results of climate change. We're not scientists, but we have got we've got 2 eminent scientists who know the science, and they wrote for us that first part of the Pastoral. Then the second part of the Pastoral is we are asking people to look at how each of them can do something, where all our responsibility lies, where each individual can contribute towards lessening what we call the carbon footprint. And we give at the end practical things like recycling, not wasting water, simple things, but things everybody can do to use less energy, particularly that by petrol, by hydrocarbon fuels, because it is carbon dioxide, which is the greenhouse gas, which blocks the radiation going back out into space again, raising the temperature of the atmosphere and the temperature of the earth. The book of Genesis tells us that when God created Adam and Eve, he placed them in charge of tilling and caring for the earth. And that stewardship has been man's since that time. And man hasn't fared too well, hasn't been a great steward, we have to say. Hasn't looked after God's garden, as Dante called it, and cultivated and cared for it as he should. And therefore, we're reaping the results of that now with the increased temperature and the danger of the tipping point, where if we got to 6 degrees more than we are now, there would be chaos, all kinds of disturbances in the atmosphere, rising in sea levels and catastrophe. And we're headed for that if we don't take action. Pope Benedict said that before it's too late, we should be courageous in tackling climate change. We're stewards, but that doesn't give us absolute freedom to do what we like. And we have been abusing the gifts of nature. And to respect and care for the environment, and to keep it for the next generation. We don't want to pass on a polluted planet to our people, my grandnephews and grandnieces, other people's grandchildren and so on. We will be blamed if we continue to pollute the planet and hand on a broken down environment to the people who come after us. We won't be thanked if we do that. The other group of people, of course, are the people in the third world countries who are very poorly developed. The developed countries provide most of the pollution, and the people who pay the greatest price are the people in the third world countries who are guilty of about 3% of the pollution. So the whole Trócaire missionary trust as well is very much part of the Bishop's concern. We have, of course, the patron of the environment. I asked the children in school there recently, I was talking the environment, and I asked the class, does anyone know who's the patron saint of the environment? Little girl put up her hand, about 12-year-old, she said, Saint Al Gore. And he's, of course, had the film An Inconvenient Truth, and it was an inconvenient truth to me that we hadn't told our children who the patron saint is, namely St. Francis of Assisi. And of course he has a beautiful canticle to Creation, canticle to the Sun, and it's a prayer children today should be taught, because the children today are our best hope, I think. You see people working hard to get the green flag for their school, and when it's got, there's a great celebration. Some important person comes, raises the flag, and they raise the consciousness of the children, and they're the people, and young people then of we'll say 19, 20 and 21, they relate more easily and quickly to what is the Bishop's message. I think one big advantage of this Bishop's Pastoral is it's going to be welcomed by a young generation that may not be all that tuned into the Church's teaching in other areas. We hope that the faithful, old and young, will hear it, read it, and maybe have discussion groups on it, and that the practical consequences of it can be spelled out. The final part of the pastoral speaks of things that are happening already, like recycling, and being careful about use of water, not wasting heat. A lot of these recommendations would save money, which is important at this, as they say, this time of recessionary times, as the phrase goes. We hope that this will give people an understanding of what everybody plays a part. It's not just the American government and the other governments. It's every individual, and every Christian, I think, will see his or her duty to make small changes in their lifestyle that could, added together, could make big changes in the world, and especially in the consciousness, the awareness that everybody will have of how they might do their little bit to conserve and to save, as Cardinal Daly said, to save planet Earth.